How's it going, Giants fans? My name is Alex. Today is the first day of training camp. Super excited. Everyone's getting involved. Everyone's getting active. Everybody stayed healthy, which is a huge thing. Daniel Bellinger, our rookie tight end, was removed from the PUP list today. If you're hearing drilling above me, it's because these assholes are doing construction and demolishing two apartments right above me. It's driving me absolutely crazy, but welcome to living in New York City. I'm too excited to get brought down by that. Obviously, Giants training camp is here and a lot of great news. We have some videos to show you. I clipped a couple of awesome clips. I'm sure you guys are going to want to see some sights and highlights from today's practice. But Anthony, how excited are you for today's practice and kind of the next couple of weeks of just awesome football and constant stuff coming out? Finally, we have some real news and some real things to react to. It's been a long off season, but we finally made it.
I mean, I'm thrilled, man. This is like football is back, right? Whenever training camp starts up, that's when football is back for me. The off season, there's a really long dry spell after free agency and the draft. It's really exciting right after the Super Bowl ends and then everything picks up, free agency, then the draft, and it's all super fun and games. And then there's just this long dry spell. You got like mandatory mini camps for a few days and then just nothing up until training camp. And training camp is one of the most exciting parts of the NFL offseason, in my opinion, because this is when finally the team gets back together. You're seeing new faces, familiar faces, all taking the field together, practicing, and coaches are really shaping the roster, shaping the depth chart. And then we get all the cool highlights from practice and everything. And of course, we all hold our breaths that there's no major training camp injuries, but it's just a really exciting time. Giants football is finally back, and I'm really excited to dive into some of these clips and react to them because there were quite a few highlights today. I mean, the Giants had a really good day of practice, and some of the players look like they're in store for a big year. I don't want to get too carried away. I know it's only the first day of training camp, but some of these players look like they have been putting in work throughout the offseason, and they're making some plays early on in training camp, which is super exciting. I can't wait. I know preseason is coming up shortly anyway. There's only a couple of weeks before preseason kicks off, and that's just going to be more excitement for me. I just love when Giants football finally returns, and I'm so excited to see all these new faces take the field in these big blue uniforms and get ready for a great 2022 season.
Yeah, and hopefully it is great because, first year of a rebuild, there's a lot left to figure out with Daniel Jones and the offensive line. The starting offensive line today looked like Andrew Thomas, Shane Lemieux, John Feliciano, Mark Lewinsky, and Evan Neal. So Shane Lemieux obviously competing for that starting left guard spot. You got Josh Azudu, and you obviously have Max Garcia as well. So some really good competition battles, position battles that are going to be happening over the next couple of weeks. We'll keep you guys updated on those. But some really nice plays today overall. Wan'Dale Robinson had a touchdown. Saquon had a touchdown. Daniel Jones had a touchdown rushing. Darnay Holmes had an awesome interception. Kadarius had a ridiculous juggling catch, getting his feet into the end zone. I clipped all of this for you guys. So we'll jump into this, then we'll react to the videos. And obviously, we'll kind of talk over them as they go. But let's take a look at these. So right off the bat here, beautiful little throw. I mean, look, I had a hot take the other day that I think Wan'Dale Robinson could be our leading, yards guy as a receiver, as a rookie. I think that he could lead the Giants receivers as a rookie in yards. That's a better way to put that. And he shows that here, man. Like, he's a good red zone threat too. So shifty, so quick. He can do a lot of things for you. And this is just a nice throw from Daniel Jones over Xavier McKinney, one of our top guys, one of our top defenders. Really nice play from Robinson. He's so agile. He gets away from defensive backs really, really nicely. But how exciting is it to see Wan'Dale Robinson, who is small, has small hands, has a small wingspan, making plays in the end zone? I know the Giants didn't have many touchdowns last year. No, none of their receivers really did. But how exciting is it to see this rookie kind of making an impact on day one of training camp?
I think it's super exciting. What you're seeing here looks to be man coverage against Xavier McKinney, just a one-on-one end zone route, and Wan'Dale Robinson is able to shake free here and get himself open in the corner of the end zone. I also like the good throw from Daniel Jones. It's nice, it's accurate. It kind of reminds me of that touchdown pass to Sterling Shepard in his first start against Tampa in 2019, though it's on the other side of the field. But just that little corner route to get to the corner of the end zone, the back corner of the end zone, and it's a well-placed ball. It's a well-timed throw. And I just like to see that a rookie is already showing up against probably our best defender, in my opinion. I think that highly of Xavier McKinney. I really like what he brings to the table, and I would go as far as to say that he is the best defender on the Giants, or at least could be by the end of the season. So it's cool to see this undersized, small, miniature-sized rookie shaking him out of his boots and getting a touchdown on the first day of camp. And I just got to point out here, Kadarius Toney makes Wan'Dale Robinson looks small when they celebrate there. And Kadarius Toney is not a big guy. He is not tall. He's not a menacing figure, but he makes Wan'Dale Robinson look small. And I just thought that was kind of funny. Wan'Dale Robinson, like I said, a very undersized miniature player, but a very shifty player who knows how to get open in space. And it's super exciting to see him making an impact on day one. And another thing that I'll say is the Giants did a lot of red zone drills today. They did a lot of practice in the red zone, and they were very successful. The offense was in the red zone, scored a lot of touchdowns against the defense. And I'm super excited for that because for the last however many years, the Giants have just been god awful in the red zone. Can't convert, can't score touchdowns. They just can't put points on the board once they get within 20 yards of the end zone. But Brian Dable, Mike Kafka coming from the Buffalo Bills and the Kansas City Chiefs, those are two of the most efficient red zone offenses in the NFL. And I know it's something that they're going to be practicing hard on all summer. And I know that it's something that we're going to see great improvements on in the 2022 regular season. Can't wait to see the Giants finally put up some points in the red zone.
Yeah, I mean, look, Wan'Dale had a really great campaign with Kentucky last year in his final collegiate season. Made plays downfield. He's a monster screen catcher. We should expect him to be very, very involved in this offensive scheme to start. But here, I believe this is a Darnay Holmes interception. So, of course, people will harp on the interception, Daniel Jones throwing interception in the red zone, but this is where you want to do it in practice, know where these guys are. But let's focus more so on Darnay Holmes making a play than anything, because, you know, he really is showing some really good agility here. Does a really good job baiting him. You can see he jumps up to the line of scrimmage. So Daniel Jones kind of sees him jump there. He thinks he's going to be out of coverage, but he drops back into zone and does a really nice job just hovering in that short area, using his eyes to read Daniel Jones's eyes, and then bam, undercuts it, gets a nice interception. Darnay Holmes, I think, could be the starting nickel position this year. I wouldn't be surprised if he competed on the outside with Aaron Robinson as well, but I definitely project him to be the starter when it comes to that slot corner spot. Anthony, what are you thinking about Darnay Holmes and this awesome interception?
I think this is a great interception. Of course, I'll start off the bat. It is day one of practice, so don't get it so afraid by Daniel Jones throwing this interception, right? It is an ugly throw. He totally misread this play. I think he thought that Darnay might be coming on a blitz here because you see he's kind of lined up against the line of scrimmage, and then he backs off at the last second. And we know Wink Martindale loves to send creative blitzes, so there's a good chance that Wink was sending a lot of creative blitzes at Daniel Jones. Daniel Jones just never saw Darnay. He probably made the read pre-snap, thought Darnay was not going to be in coverage, and then just threw it because Saquon Barkley would be open in that flat. And he threw it behind because he knew that there was another defender on the other side. So I really just don't think he ever saw Darnay. But of course, like I said, it's the first day of training camp. I'm not too worried about Daniel Jones making this throw and making this bad interception. If he's going to make them, I'd rather him make them early on in training camp. Another thing that I'll point out here, though, on the offensive side of the ball, something that excites me before I dive into Darnay Holmes here, Saquon Barkley lined up in the slot. I believe that's Saquon, right? Lined up in the slot there. He's the intended receiver.
Yep, it is.
That is super exciting to me. I mean, you guys know I've been harping on this for a long time. Get Saquon Barkley more involved as a receiver, especially lining him up outside of the backfield. I don't just want him on screen passes and little dump offs and checkdowns from the backfield. Use him as the true X factor, Swiss Army knife on offense that he is, and that's what we're seeing here. I know this wasn't the greatest result on this play, but I'm just really excited to see in the red zone Saquon Barkley lined up in the slot playing wide receiver, running a little out route here, and that's really exciting for me. I think that's going to be a huge part of the Giants' offense this year, Saquon Barkley as a receiver, and I'm really excited to see on the first day of camp they've got him lined up in the slot. But of course, that was a great play by Darnay Holmes just to bait Daniel Jones and make a diving interception. I really like what Darnay brings to the table. You guys know we have a great relationship with Brian Walker, Darnay's trainer, and we're super excited to see what Darnay can do this season. I think that he can earn that starting nickel role, and I think he's going to be in store for a very big year.
Yeah, he absolutely can win that starting nickel role. I really do believe that. But here's Kadarius Toney, right? Kadarius Toney is obviously a polarizing factor for this offense. When he is healthy, he's one of the best on this team, maybe one of the most agile guys in football. And he showcases not just agility, but just kind of possession receiver capabilities in the end zone. Little back shoulder throw, beautiful catch. I mean, one-handed juggling. Aaron Robinson is draped all over him. I believe that's Aaron Robinson. Bam. I mean, that is just a gorgeous. And look, watch the concentration though. Bam, juggling the football is one variable to consider, but then to get his feet in, to drag those feet, that little toe that touches the grass at the end of that catch right there. I mean, this is beautiful. This is what you want to see from your former first-round rookie. I guess last year. Now he's a sophomore. Obviously, if he's healthy, he can be an unbelievable part to this team. Daniel Jones is going to be leaning on him a lot if he can remain healthy. Obviously, he's going into training camp fully ready to go. Had an arthroscopic knee surgery. That's all cleaned up. He's good to go there. Ankle is healthy. He's been working diligently this offseason to improve his game, make sure he stays healthy and improves his the strength of his ligaments and whatnot with those quick twitch abilities. This is gorgeous. I mean, this is what you want to see from Kadarius Toney right off the bat in training camp. Anthony, what is your reaction to this?
First off, Kadarius Toney is healthy. Thank God. He wore the red shirt all throughout mandatory minicamps, and there was some concern because last year, let's face it, he was a very injury-prone player. But another thing that I'll say about Kadarius Toney is when he was on the field, he flashed some excellent potential, but he never flashed it quite like this. What we saw from Kadarius Toney in his rookie season was a lot of getting open, nice route running, getting open in space, and making yards after the catch. We didn't really see him go up there and get it like this. I don't think the Giants ever even gave him the opportunity to, and never really gave him any chances on fade routes or, jump balls or anything. So I'm excited to see that they're kind of starting to use him in a different way. Again, I know it's only the first day of camp, and probably during the regular season, Kenny Golladay is going to get most of these targets in the red zone. But it's good to know that Kadarius Toney has that ability to go up against a cornerback who is taller than him, B, a cornerback who is stronger than him, and C, have the ball control to make a play like this, because that's something that people kind of harped on coming out of the draft, was that Kadarius Toney maybe didn't have the best catch radius, didn't have the best ball skills, didn't have the best body control midair. But right here, you're seeing he's put in some work. It looks like he's made some improvements in that regard. This is a phenomenal catch. I love the concentration on it, and I love how he's able to drag that second toe down and make this a touchdown play. Again, another play in the red zone from the Giants. They did a lot of red zone drills, which I'm super, super excited for. I think there's going to be massive improvements in the red zone from the Giants this year, and I'm excited to see how involved Kadarius Toney is going to get in the red zone.
Yeah, I also want to point out, look at Brian Dable in here in the mix, giving Kadarius Toney a nice pat on the head. Building those chemistry, building those relationships with the players. You love to see that. He's been involved all day. This play is one of the best of the day by far. I mean, Saquon Barkley, the Giants are expected to get him heavily involved in the receiving game. And we sometimes forget that Saquon's got sick hands, man. Look at that catch. I mean, it looks like freaking Michael Jordan. Like, that's unbelievable. You're looking, I mean, it's actually pretty impressive to see a guy, who had a couple drops last year, has been really just ignored as a receiver. We talked about before, he was lined up in the slot. They're going to get him so involved in the receiving game. And when you can make throws like this as a running back, when you make catches like this as a running back, I mean, that's awesome. Like, this is huge. Saquon Barkley may have that resurgent season. If he can stay healthy, they're going to get him activated as that kind of like, I guess you could say like scat back on steroids. He's going to be absolute monster in terms of as a receiver. I'm curious to see how his splits end up between rushing yards and receiving yards, because of course he is the running back, but man, you see him in the slot, you see him split out wide, you see him running routes out of the backfield. I mean, this is just beautiful because you see he's kind of running this like stutter, bam, out of the backfield. That's gorgeous. Little fade. Oh my goodness. I mean, what is your reaction to this? Because I know, a lot of people will say Saquon Barkley is probably gone after this year. Definitely doesn't this regimen doesn't actually value running backs the way that maybe Dave Gettleman did. But I'll tell you what, Saquon Barkley at the top of his game, you can't ignore how special he is.
Yeah, I'd say honestly, hold your horses on Saquon Barkley being gone after the season, because I agree this regime probably doesn't value running backs the way that Dave Gettleman did. I don't think anybody valued running backs the way Dave Gettleman did. You think about him taking Christian McCaffrey with the 10th pick with the Panthers, and then the following year taking Saquon Barkley with the 2nd overall pick with the Giants. Just a crazy overemphasis on the running back position. But what I will say about this new regime is that I think maybe there's not a heavy emphasis on running backs, but there is going to be a heavy emphasis on receivers, guys who make plays in the receiving game. So I think early and often we're going to be seeing Saquon Barkley getting involved as a receiver. Can they unlock that next level of Saquon, get him returned to his rookie form, where he had all those receptions, 91 receptions. What do you have? I think 700 receiving yards, over 700. That's just a great statistic for a running back. And I think that's what the Giants' goal is for Saquon Barkley this year. Make him add that value by not just being a great running back and a great rusher, but make him a great receiver as well. Have him basically playing two positions and adding a lot of value to his game here. But one thing that I do want to take away is I think we watched, 5 or 4 clips here, and 2 of them we saw Saquon Barkley making plays as a receiver in the end zone, which is really great. I will say on that one-handed touchdown grab, I don't think that was the best ball tracking skills. He kind of started running backwards for a second. You probably just want to see him go over the shoulder shoulder and run towards the pylon. But nonetheless, it's a phenomenal grab. We've seen him make one-handers in games before. We know that he's got the ball skills. We know that he can make those spectacular catches. And I'm super excited, again, as I said, to see the Giants really unlock that next level of Saquon Barkley. I just can't wait to see him actually get involved as a receiver. I feel like the last 2 years, that was just a major misfire from the Giants' previous regime with Joe Judge and Jason Garrett. They just I don't understand what their purpose was with Saquon Barkley. I think Garrett wanted to turn Saquon into Ezekiel Elliott, but those two have completely different playing styles. And I think that was the major disconnect between Garrett and Barkley. I know he only played in a game and a half in 2020, but even in those games, we saw him just running straight down the middle every play. We didn't really see him getting involved as a receiver. I remember in Saquon's rookie season, his first game, he had 12 receptions or 12 targets. I don't remember what it was, but it was against Dallas, and it was like, wow, this is how Pat Shurmur wants to use this player. Add that value to this running back. Get him involved in the receiving game. And then year two, first game, he barely even had any targets in the receiving game. And then the following season, overall, throughout the entire year, barely involved as a receiver. But I think that's the key to having that breakout 2022 season for Saquon Barkley. Adding that impact as a receiver, being that extra wide receiver on the field at all times, whether you're lined up in the backfield, in the slot, or even out wide. Again, I can't harp on it enough. It's the most exciting thing for me this upcoming season is watching the Giants revolutionize their offense, completely revamp it overnight, and have a lot more added value to specific players like Kadarius Toney, like Saquon Barkley, and I'm really excited to see those guys getting the work early and often in training camp, making plays. I think it's going to be an exciting summer, and I just can't wait for the regular season to roll around.
Me too. I mean, look, I think we saw more motion today in the first day of training camp than we did all of last year in Jason Garrett's offense. So that should give you an idea of just how much more advanced this offense is going to be and how much more they're going to give Daniel Jones in terms of information pre-snap. That's the best way to give quarterbacks who may have been struggling ways to improve. Allow them to have more information so they can determine where the coverage is going to be, what the coverage is. And that way, you can kind of mitigate some of these mistakes that Daniel Jones has made in the past. More information should equal better throws, less probability of interceptions, turnovers, whatever it may be. So hopefully that will directly correlate to a much better season for DJ and this entire Giants offense. At least get our receivers some touchdowns at the very least. But guys, I hope you enjoyed this episode of Fireside Giants. Taking a look at today's main clips, awesome highlights from this squad. We'll be doing these daily, getting you guys all the good information and good videos that you want to see in the highlights and whatnot. And also Daniel Bellinger, as I mentioned before, is off the PUP list. Kadarius Toney not being on the PUP list is a great sign. So some really good stuff coming out today. Hope you guys enjoy the video. We'll catch you guys on the next one.